Guys, Dave here from Wolf in the Wild Survival, episode 13 of Trailer Trash Tuesdays, and today I'm going to take advantage of what I was kind of saying I was a little envious of in one of the last videos, people who get to shoot their videos in controlled environments. So I'm going to do a video that I would normally go into the bush to do, and I would probably drag a whole bunch of props and whatnot, kind of whatever. I'm going to do this video in my trailer rather than in the bush with all the props and the fixins and, you know, kind of whatever. I'm just going to try to keep it simple. Bug-out bags, as you know by the title, is the topic of today's discussion. And we're not going to get into all kinds of gear reviews, and I'm not going to rip apart my bag and whatever. So if you're expecting that, not going to happen. What we're going to talk about is the basic concepts, some of the rules, some of the do's and don'ts, you know, sort of thing, and a few other things, but, you know, we'll get into all that. So first of all, been watching some bug-out bag videos, just not much to do, and, you know, checking out videos and whatever, and a lot of people are basically, with their bug-out bag, they'll say something along the lines of, you know, oh, I have this thing, and sometimes it's in my bug-out bag, and other times it's not in my bug-out bag, and, you know, I tend to go back and forth on it. Okay. Here's why that's a bad idea. Bug-out bags are like toys. They're meant to be played with. You need to get out into the bush, out into the woods, out into the prairies, out into the mountains, somewhere, and you need to use them. You need to play with them. You need to get comfortable with them. You need to figure out what works and what doesn't. Now, it's okay to upgrade a piece of gear. You take out a polyethylene tarp and you put in a sil nylon tarp. Fine, great. But don't switch the tarp in and out and not have another shelter option, or, you know, kind of whatever. Don't switch stuff like that in and out all the time, because you want to be able to utilize your bug-out bag like in your sleep. Okay? You want to get very familiar, very comfortable with your bug-out bag. Constantly switching things in and out, you're not going to be super comfortable with the gear that you're using. And chances are, in a bug-out situation, you're going to be tired. You're going to be stressed out. There's any number of things that can come into play where you could make fatal mistakes, you could injure yourself, you could do all kinds of things that you otherwise wouldn't do when you have a level head. But the point of the bug-out bag is to give you the tools you need to get through a situation where you might not be level-headed at that particular time. You want to stay as familiar as possible with your bug-out bag. Everything in it, you want to know what it is you have and how to use it, no matter what, every situation. Don't switch things just in and out willy-nilly and go back and forth. Make a decision and try to keep with the stuff that you're comfortable with, that you're using, unless you're upgrading, in which case, yes, same concept, just new gear. Totally fine. Probably one of the most important things that you could do with your bug-out bag, and a lot of people probably don't tell you this. I mean, I don't think I've heard it really at all. You're going to have things in your bug-out bag that might be tempting to get into, especially the food. Okay, I got a couple of buddies, at least, that they buy up the camp food, the MREs, the emergency food, the buckets. Like, they get all this emergency stuff, and then, you know, they get lazy and they don't really want to cook the food that they have. They just want to, like, something really quick and easy to prepare. They're all out of ramen noodles and craft dinner. They break into their emergency supplies, their bug-out bag, and they eat the food in it. And next thing you know, there's no food in there, and who knows when they get around to replacing it. And then they do, and they, you know, it's in there for a month or two, or, you know, maybe a little more, and then they end up eating that too. So more than half the time, their bug-out bag has no food in it. You want to have at least a couple of meals. You want to have at least a couple of days worth of food in that bug-out bag at all times. Okay, and it goes with all your gear too, not just your food. You don't want to take your folding saw out and go play around with it or whatever and then not put it back immediately. You want to keep your bug out bag together 100%. In the situation where you do need to grab it and go, you want to make sure that you have everything. So do not rob anything from your bug out bag, especially your food and your tools. You can go without clean clothes. If for some reason, you're all out of laundry quarters and you take your clothes out of your bug out bag and you wear that around for a day or two or whatever, okay, whatever. I can't imagine that actually happening to somebody, but hey, you never know. You could probably go without certain things, but still, it's a bad idea. It's a bad practice. Keep your bug out bag in an accessible location and keep it intact together 100% all of the time. Very important. Getting back onto bug out bags are made to be played with. Down in my playlist is a overnight camp trip that a buddy of mine and I did just last May. Our plan was to spend a few days and hike through the day and set up camp and sleep at night. Absolute disaster. First of all, we both had too much weight. We really did. We both had way too much weight in our packs. His pack was heavier than mine, and it fell apart. His pack, his bug out bag, just started tearing, seams popping out, ripping. It just completely fell apart. I'm a big fan of military surplus gear. Something like this Alice pack, generally a GI has taken that thing, dragged it through absolute hell, brought it back, sold it on the open market, and it ends up in the hands of somebody like me. I don't think you can go wrong with something like that. You've got like a nice sturdy metal frame, your little cushion kidney belt, heavy duty straps, lots of storage space. I can't laud military surplus gear enough. I personally think it's the best way to go. Other people like more new wave gear, whatever. Okay, fine. My buddy, he fell through his hammock, his backpack fell apart, everything basically failed on him. Everything. Even his cook kit was kind of subpar. And how did we know that? Well, we took it out and we played with it. And we found out that most of his stuff needed to be either strengthened, heavily repaired, or replaced. And that's the only way you're going to know your gear is good enough, is to get out and use it. Maybe for like a day, maybe an overnight, better yet a weekend or more, but get out and use your gear. Practice, make sure that it's going to hold up and see you through that hard time that you, for whatever reason, found yourself in. Part of every single really, really good, nearly infallible bug out bag is a skill set. If you don't possess the skills that you need to live comfortably in the woods, you need to practice that. Just jumping onto the odd YouTube video and seeing what other people do is only half the battle. You learn a lot from YouTube. You really can. I love the platform. I really do. But you have to get out and develop the skill, develop the muscle memory, figure out. I can't tell you how many times when I was younger, I would see somebody tie a knot, and I'm like, oh, that's how you do it. And even an hour later, I'm trying to tie that knot, and I can't, how'd you do that again? You got to practice this stuff. There are certain things that only develop through repetition, and in order to get a good, strong, practical skill set, you have to get out and you have to do it. If you're not willing to do that, there's really not much point in having a bug out bag. I mean, why are you going to put a bunch of money into a bunch of gear you have no idea how to use, so that when you get into the woods, you're basically standing there with your hands in your head, or your head in your hands, near to tears, because you're in this horrible situation and don't have an idea what you're doing. A lot of people, they like to have a bug out location. Nothing wrong with that. As a matter of fact, that should be a thing. I like to have several bug out locations. Like I have like 6 that I'm intimately familiar with. I have 6 different locations that I could just go to at any given time, and I can comfortably live there for a while. I don't know exactly for how long in each location. Now, they are spread like pretty widely across the southern part of the province of Ontario. But still, having a plan A is great, but you should have a plan A, B, C, D, E, as many as you can figure out, as many as you can get. Having a solid and set, unbendable plan is bound for failure. Always have backup plans. Always be as flexible as possible. Now, with all that said, some of you are probably thinking to yourself, well, what's that got to do with, his whole Trailer Trash Tuesdays format? Well, this trailer is one of my bug out bags. It is also, kind of, sort of, my bug out location. The inside of the trailer doesn't change no matter where I go. So with this trailer, I have an unlimited number of bug out locations that I can take advantage of. And as long as I keep it fairly well stocked, and the propane tanks, relatively full, whatever, I'm good. I can exist here, no problem. I mean, I've already proven that. I'm well into 3 months now. Well, not well into. I'm past 3 months. I'm just into my 4th month now. So, having a bug out vehicle isn't necessarily all that practical for some people, but talk about invaluable. Okay, let me start off by saying, because some of you might ask, I am not in a financial emergency. I am not in a personal emergency of any kind. I'm doing this because I want to. This is something that I've been wanting to do for quite a while. I'm just now, really being able to get around to it. But I've been talking about this for years. And I tried to do it with a previous trailer that I bought that was just in way too rough a shape. I shouldn't have bought it. But, I only paid like $250 for it, so really I should have known better. But, and I had tons of fun with that trailer at my buddy's property. Do not get me wrong. I do not regret buying that, not one bit. That thing was awesome to hang out in with my best friend. But this one A little bit smaller, narrower, it's not as comfortable. It's got a lot of pluses. One of them being, this thing is rock solid sturdy. I got no real complaints. I wish it was a little bit wider, to be honest, because I'm kind of a big guy and moving around in here sometimes, especially when I have like a backpack or my duty bag for work with me. Wearing my body armor, oh geez, let me tell you, it gets tight in here. And that took a little bit of getting used to. But with this trailer, I have a plan A that will probably allow me to exist very comfortably for quite a long time. There's not a lot of storage space in here. There really isn't. So my actual bug-out bag, or what I call my preparedness pack, that has to stay in the back of my truck. Not really a big deal. I mean, it can be a bit of a pain, moving stuff around all the time, whatever. But it is what it is. If for some reason I have to drop the trailer and grab a few things and go, I still have a plan B. And some of you may have seen my bug out location, like my big good one, family cottage near Algonquin Park. That would be the ultimate goal. But the whole point is, I have a very solid and very flexible plan A, but I have multiple backups as well. So as far as the skill set thing goes, I have displayed in some of the trailer trash videos, this and the previous ones from the old trailer. I have done some cooking, both with some food that can be stored like long term and some food that was wild harvested. I have done some like medicinal plants and some edible plants and whatnot, and I have like a bunch of that stuff in one of my cupboards. I've got like ghost pipe tincture. I've got dried plants like wild bergamot, goldenrod, plantain, yarrow, purple dead nettle, wild mints. It's the list actually goes on. I've been kind of doing a lot of that lately, and more or less relying on that for the most part for the last couple of years now, give or take. Maybe a little bit longer. Okay, first of all, if some of you knew how much money we get charged for like medications and like our drugs up here in Canada, you'd flip your lid. It's incredible. Also, I don't want to learn on the fly if I ever actually have to bug out. I want to have the skill set in place so that as I'm traveling from place to place, there's a plant that's useful that I don't have. I'm going to harvest some of that and I'm going to utilize it. And on top of that, I want to have a stock of wild medicinals and useful plants when I start out. This trailer actually allows me to do that very effectively, even though I was doing it at my apartment as well. But it just, the trailer just, it gives me, I don't know, more of a reason to do it, I suppose, which is pretty cool. So, in the event that I have to grab and go and hook up the trailer and just take off, I already have all of that stuff, and all I have to do is replenish. I'm not in an emergency situation where I'm all out of something. Well, actually, willow tree bark I'm all out of. So I do have to replenish that. But, I mean, I could do that today, tomorrow, kind of whatever. Not a very good attitude to have, actually. I should get that done soon. But the fact of the matter is that I have the skill set. I have some stuff in place if it's needed in an emergency situation, and I am strengthening that skill set every single day by practicing what I preach every single day. So I'm not just whistling Dixie here, folks. I'm doing it. I'm living in this trailer right now. It's getting kind of cold at night too, so I don't know how much longer I can stay in this thing. I'm hoping another month, but I don't know. We'll see. I mean, it's the middle of the day right now, and it's actually kind of hot in here. I've got all the windows open. I had my battery-powered fan running before I started filming. It's pretty warm in here. Yeah. I got a few more things to do, and a few more, plants, herbs, whatever, to collect, and I'm good to go. All in all, having a bug-out bag, it's not even half the battle. It really isn't. You could spend all the money in the world, and it'll fail you. It'll completely fail you. Mostly because you're failing yourself. It's not failing you, you're failing you. Get out. Practice. Develop a skill set. Make sure you know what you're doing. I actually really, really don't like the thought that anybody who watches my channel might be sitting in the woods with their head in their hands crying because they have all this expensive gear and they have no idea what to do. I mean, I'm here to help, but I can only do so much, guys. So please, for your own sake, for your buddy Dave's peace of mind, get out, practice, and stay wild. We'll see you in the next one.